Welcome to episode 9 of Living Truthfully. My name is Amani Maranga, and thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I am still amazed and grateful for all of you that are listening to this and for all the feedback you have given me. In fact, speaking of feedback, some of my friends left me some feedback as voice notes, and I'd like to share with you what they had to say.
Hi Amani, my name is Tim and I'm an avid listener to your podcast, Living Truthfully. I'd like to thank you for taking time to record and share your own personal journey through this podcast. It's been amazing listening. What has stood out for me has been the pain bank, the deposits and withdrawals we make at subconscious level and the impact that has in our lives. Thank you so much for that insight, and I can't wait to see where this leads.
Hi Amani, I was gonna say salam alaikum because I say that quite often, but in the afternoon yesterday I sort of lay on the bed with my legs propped up and I listened to episode 4 and 5 of the podcast, and I was like, oh my god, this is so good. I've been a therapist now for about 3 years, and I have noticed there is a gradual shift where men are a lot more receptive to seeking resources for mental health, which is great for me, but then to see it on a public platform for me, it's just amazing. And then the second thing where I was really excited about, and just listening to the quality of your work was just the production was just amazing. So yeah, and I'm your number one fan.
Hey Amani, good stuff. Dude, I've been listening to all your podcasts, and I must tell you, I appreciate your vulnerability because that's unique. That's a very, very unusual space, especially for a Kenyan man. So kudos, man. Kudos to you. I truly pray that you're touching many, 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 many men, because these are issues that have been affecting thousands. And what happens is that these many wounded men who got wounded sometimes as boys end up bleeding on the chicks. And I'm praying even there are women who are understanding, who are actually getting your message right, because then it's helping understand that we're dealing also with wounded men. And a lot of people don't even know that they deal with wounded men. And so I appreciate this podcast completely. I listened to it. However, this last one, yes, there's some truth to women not being able to raise solid men. But I tell you, I do know a few solid men who have been raised single-handedly by women, simply because there was no male figure around. And guess what? Even as it's suggested that we get men with integrity to mentor these children, how about when there are none around us? Some of us know very few men with integrity. And when you say that find men of integrity, what if they're not there? Does that mean then we have a whole system that is full of men who are not raised right? I know men who have been raised single-handedly by women and they're solid children. And then I also know men who've been raised by men of integrity and they're not up to par. No, they're not. They're actually not better than the ones who've been raised by single women. So I beg to disagree on that point. Just throwing it out there. But otherwise, I'm enjoying the podcast completely. Kudos.
Hey, thank you, Carol, for your love, and thank you for your feedback. Thank you, Tim and Mudhoni, for the feedback. Thank you for the guys who've written in, and all of you who've called and shared your stories with me. You've made my healing even more meaningful. If you've got something to say, don't hesitate to give me your thoughts and share this podcast with everyone who needs to hear it. About 2 years ago, 3 friends of mine and I were at the watering hole. If you know, you know. Kauna Jua Maliko, you know where it is. And at some point, we were discussing our ended marriages. And then someone asked why we got married. And what hit me at the time was that when we were all discussing it, all the 4 of us felt some sense of compulsion to get married. Now, I have alluded in this podcast that I got married at the time to the lady who was the mother of my child, my firstborn daughter. And having shared about my past here in the last few episodes, then you would understand when I say that I did not want my child to grow up not knowing her father. And so I felt I had no choice. And I did the honorable thing and got married. Now, thing is, later, when things got thick in my marriage, that reason couldn't hold this thing together. So now I'm on a quest to understand the process that men go through when they're getting married. I posted this question, why did you get married, on my Facebook, on my Twitter handle, on my Instagram, and on my WhatsApp profile. And so I want to sample for you some of the answers that I got for why men get married. Now, let me first say that I had more women responding to the question than men, and it was clearly written men, but the women were also just curious to find out why men marry. So I'm going to read out just a few responses. So this one's from my pal Gidi. He says, to get added responsibility, number one. Number two, to help fulfill God's commandment that we procreate. Number three, we once fell in love. And number four, he says, it was expected by others. I'm like, wow. Actually, when I first posted it on my FB, my pal Steve just rocked straight into it and he said to have legal sex. I have another pal of mine, we shall call him Jugush, and Jugush says because she got pregnant. So there's a pal of mine called Ricky. He says got swept by the wave, a natural progression. There's a pal of mine, Ken. He says, boss, yo kitu ni tamu bwana. End of story. And so in the next few episodes, I'll be talking to a few men and hearing why did they get married. Now, should you want to share your story, please message me on any of the social media platforms and I'll call you. My handle is @Amani Maranga on Facebook, on Twitter, and on IG. But for now, let me make the first call. Papa Flav.
Yes, Vipi, you guys?
How you doing, man?
Deadly.
Thank you so much for agreeing to take this call.
Anytime for you, my brother.
And you know I have a lot of respect for you as well, Papa Flav, eh?
Mutual, it's mutual, bro.
So I was just having this conversation with my listeners, eh? And I was saying that, you know, I'm increasingly coming to find that the reason that men get married is very different from women per se, you know? And I thought maybe you're a good person to start this conversation with because you're a veteran at getting married.
Did you just say that, Amani? I thought you said you have a lot of respect for me, and
yeah,
then on the same breath you call me a veteran.
Yeah, I have respect for all veterans.
I just don't think it sounds okay, you guys. And I'm going to chopper you on that one. You have a debt to pay,
bruh. Let me tell you. When the US military is honoring their veterans, it's because those are the guys who've gone ahead of everybody else. But
so let me weigh in on that one, Amani. I think getting married for men is, as you say, very different from the reason that women get married in society, and it's sometimes. There's a mismatch in expectations, and that's where we have a lot of issues in marriage and stuff like that. And I always say that one of the first things that you need to do before you get married is to be complete in yourself. Wanting nothing other than wanting now to give off yourself. If you haven't reached that station, it will be very hard and difficult for you to be fulfilled in marriage.
I agree with you, bro. And thanks for giving that context, because you're right. I think for marriage to work, you've got to be completely selfless. But I'm very interested in the mind of the guy at the point they're making a decision to get married. Now, if you'll allow me, let me just give a little context from what I know of you, is that you recently got married to a beautiful bride, and I was there to witness your wedding.
Thank you for being there, and you were the master of ceremonies.
I was one of the masters of ceremonies. Thank you for allowing me to do that. And I don't know if I told you that you got married on the same day I got married.
You mentioned on the very day, and we laughed about it.
We laughed about it, yeah. So, but this was your second time to walk down the aisle.
Yeah.
So allow me to take you just back to the first time. When was that? What year was that again?
That was in 1999.
1999, if you remember, if you can just go back to maybe a room or a place where you're alone, or you're having a conversation with a really good friend of yours, probably the guy who was going to be your best man, and he's asking you, Flavor, why do you want to get married now? What would be the reasons you write on point form?
It was basically because of family. I wanted family.
Okay, you wanted family.
I wanted to be a father.
You wanted to be a father?
It looked good to be a father because I saw what my dad was, and I really wanted to be that as well. To a couple of, to at least some the children that God would have blessed me with, or who God blessed me with. So those were the reasons then.
Okay.
Those were not the reasons when I got married the second time. It's
okay,
totally different.
And we'll get to that. But I want to ask you another question. You were in a church community at the time when you were getting married in 1999. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you feel like the church community had a role to play?
Oh my goodness, Amani, it had not a role. It had everything also to do with that, because it rubber stamped it in a way that it made it feel like you are not with it if you're not married.
So in the environment you were in, if I hear you correctly, the church made you, in a sense, feel like this was what you must do to be part of, maybe to belong. To
belong, actually, to be actually accepted.
To be accepted.
It was like it almost made it like it's a rite of passage. You understand? Yeah.
So you had your personal reasons, which you've talked about wanting to start a family, wanting to be a father, but you're also saying the environment that you were in sort of compelled you to be to get married.
To get married, and you see, for me, when I think about it in retrospect, I feel if this, because it's the same community that had many other people as well. Now, if this same pressure was on a person who did not have the kind of value system that I had, you can imagine the kind of union that person had, because then you're getting into this because it's more or less a forced, quote unquote, situation. But you have no basis, no matter how flimsy. Mine was, I had a basis, flimsy as it may, but at least there was a basis, and it kept my marriage alive for a bit, for at least a few years. Now, it was not the same for others. For others, the crumble and the cracks formed ASAP, and it was a wrap before even you could shout, "Love you."
Wow. So, thank you so much for sharing that, bro. So, I want to go now 19 years later. And last year we were in church with you, and you show me this beautiful lady and you tell me this is it.
Yeah.
And I looked at you and I was like, I don't know if you noticed, but I half didn't believe you. I was like, okay, happy for you, bro.
Yeah, I saw the look in your eye, my guy. And until even when you were holding the mic to officiate in terms of an MC at my wedding, you still had those ones of, my guy. And you are doing this, Yanni.
Yeah, it is happening. And it is.
Yeah. And, there's a guy, a buddy of mine, a mutual friend of ours, who told me, Flavor, you are the best worst example. Because I used to mentor, coach, and nurture men who had gone through the path that you and I and many others had gone through in terms of just losing their marriage, and it was not in our plans per se to remarry. It was a thought. But when I got to meet this lady, and she married my thoughts with my vision and destiny at that point in my life. There was no for thinking. When I met her and we hit it off, I didn't date her. And this is one of the things that we also need to demystify, dating and courting, because dating is not exclusive. You're seeing several people at the same time, viewing which one could be potential. Then you move into courtship, where you zero in on one and now start planning your future together. I jumped the dating bit. I just went straight to courtship, and I told her, listen, I know beyond a shadow of doubt, and I've been praying, and you are the one that I think I should spend the rest of my life with. Go pray about it, and let's rock and roll. If she had come back and said no, I would have been hurt, and I would have asked God, why did you tell me it's this one? But life would have gone on. But it worked out well, thank God. And she's an amazing person. She brings a lot of balance to my life, and she makes me realize who God is.
I love it.
Yeah.
Allow me to just take you back to last year.
Yeah.
At the point you decided, I'm getting married.
Yeah.
You have 2 wonderful children that you've been bringing up.
Yes.
And you've done a fantastic job with them. I must congratulate you for it.
Thank you, sir.
And you're now making the decision. Listen, I am going to get married. What drove that decision? Why did you get married last year, Flavor?
Last year, the reason why I got married is because, Amani, in this life, when you reach a certain age, you realize that it's no longer all about you. Between you and I, Amani, the successes between us, if we were to write down, it would be a blockbuster movie, and then it would be something that, stuff of legends. But that's not what life is all about. I mean, I reached an age. I mean, I'm approaching 50, and you reach a place where you understand that it's no longer about the successes. It's now about legacy. Yeah? Legacy in the sense that you now want to leave something beyond yourself. You want to be, when you have a greater understanding of who God is and how and why He put you on earth. We are on this earth not for ourselves, but for others. And everything God creates has got nothing to do with itself. God creates everything for others. The sun is made not to shine on its own, but to shine upon us. The wind blows not for itself, but to propagate seed and to bring cool breeze to others. The water flows not for itself. I mean, it's nature is replicant with that. And those are the spaces that I started meditating upon, and I realized that it's not all about me. I was very comfortable. I mean, I was living my life okay. I had raised my children on my own, and they're now into campus. And hey, what do I need someone for? But you realize you need to be there over and above, even just for your children, for somebody else. And this somebody else then happened to be the woman that I married, and I wanted to be more to her than just a man. My calling to her is that I want to make her holy. I want her to look at me and realize and experience God every moment of her life. Yeah.
Wow. You guy, you become so deep, I can't even find you, Bana.
Come deeper, bro, come.
I will.
And you can swim in these waters, I know you.
One day, hopefully. I think I must bring you back. I must bring you into studio one of these days, because you've gotten into a blended family now.
Yes, that too has got its own challenges. You've got to really, but I'm more than willing to come in studio and talk about it. I mean, men, we need each other more than we realize. We have no spaces where we unwind or we lay our worries or our weaknesses. One of the biggest things that we fail as men is just in a space where we can be vulnerable. And it's in being vulnerable that we grow, Amani. And if we are not in a space where we are vulnerable, we are all this strong, collected person. Then where is God in all that?
I agree, man.
Yeah,
I agree. And for me, vulnerability has been a place of healing. So I understand. And thank you,
awesome.
bro. I really appreciate you. And God bless you. And God bless your new union.
Thank you, sir.
I hope you guys live to, brush each other's dentures.
Anytime. And I appreciate those wishes and amen to that, bro.
All right. Cheers, bro. Thanks.
Cheers, man. Take care.
Yo,
Mr. Odipo.
how are you doing, sir?
I'm good, bro. How you doing?
Fabulous.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for picking my call and for agreeing to have this conversation on my podcast.
It's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure.
I'm really grateful for it. So, and I'm going to ask you first, are you married?
Yes, I am married.
And for how long have you been married?
It's going to be 6 years in February 8th.
Hey, 6 years. Congratulations,
Yes,
man.
this Feb.
Hey, well done. Congratulations.
Yeah. So I'm those people who have pressure for Christmas. Then after Christmas, it's my wife's birthday. Then after birthday, it's Valentine's. Then after Valentine's, before Valentine's, there's anniversary.
Hey, Buddha. I hope you own your own chocolate factory, man. Wow.
That's true.
But well done. 6 years is no mean feat in this day and age. And so congratulations, Baba.
Nashukuru.
So you got married 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Had you been dating your wife for long?
Yes, we actually dated for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we dated. Yeah, we dated for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and then eventually we got married.
Wow. So what?
Yes.
Why did you move that thing from why did you make the transition from dating to marriage?
Okay. Now, for me, it wasn't necessarily one particular reason.
I want to hear all of them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, one of the things that was really key for me was understanding first and foremost who I am, just who I am as a being. And I sat down and figured that, by the way, if I do not get married at a young age, at this point in my life, I am reducing my chances of wanting or even imagining a need or a want for a wife to as close as zero as it can get.
Wow.
Yeah, so that self-understanding was very key for me. I love saying ni poa kujijua mbaya kujijaribu.
I love it.
So, yes, so I did want to try myself, and that was one of the reasons why I opted it. By the way, it would be good to get married. And then secondly, there's a place I wanted to go in my life. I honestly saw myself doing something, being something more than what I was or what my environment was depicting. I'm a BBK, born and bred in Kibera. Yes. So
wait, first I have to do a plug-in. For those of you who thought BBK was only Barclays Bank of Kenya, now you know. Born and bred in Kibera. Barclays, please pay me for this plug-in. Continue.
Yeah. So I honestly wanted more. I knew there was more. There was no way I was raised to live and die in Kibera. There was no way. There was no way on earth. And after getting that realization, the other thing I noticed is that it's very key to have the right people in your life so that you can be able to get to where you need to be. But even more important, it's vital to have the right person in your life. You know, you can have people and then you have a person. And for me, it was very key to have the right person in my life. You know, this one I stemmed also from an example from my parents. Personally, I think my parents are the best fit for each other. I'm very happy they married each other.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah, because I saw a lot of complementing and less competition in the house.
Wow.
And that was really cool to just see. And I was like, hey, by the way, if my dad had married anyone else, or if my mother had married anyone else, chances of them being or doing the things that they were able to do and the complementing of each other, they're even different in character. As in, you know, my father is the sanguine, outgoing out there. My mother is a slightly more of a male, you know. So I saw a lot of complementing, and I realized that it's very important to have the right person in your life. You know,
I love that.
So yeah, so it's one of the things that I was very, very adamant about. And I remember even one time making a prayer to God and telling God that, by the way, I have some stirrings towards this lovely lady called Michelle. And if it is a waste of time and it is just my emotions, please, iyo mlango ifungwe. Close that door quick, fast, and in a hurry. I do not want it. Because I did not want someone who was not relevant to where I was going. And that was for me was a key reason. You know, it was very big for me. And I was like, by the way, Joe, and also the whole aspect of it's just good to start a family early. Yeah, to just get into this early enough, because in this day and age that we live in, options will be provided for just about anything. There is no monopoly.
Yeah.
You know, there's no monopoly. There'll always be options, man. You know.
Yeah.
So to just avoid a situation where I'm clouded by options, I figured, hey, by the way, John, let's just lock this down, and start the future as early as possible.
That's such a good insight, Bana. You've said three key things. One, ya kujijua.
Yes.
And you knew that if you didn't get married at that time, you were possibly not ever going to get married again, or it was going to take a long time for you to make that decision. Number two, you've talked about having the right person in your life, and thank you for sharing the example for your parents. I really pray that they keep being a shining example to you and to your community as well.
Oh yeah.
And number three, you said the need to start a family. But you've alluded to your age at the time a couple of times.
Yes.
So I'm curious to ask, how old were you when you were making the decision to get married?
I was 30 or is it 29 going to 30.
Okay. So that's a pretty good age.
Yes.
And so now you're hitting 6 years, and how do you feel it's going?
Well, the growth is absolutely outstanding. You know, there is no way, and this one anyone can take to the bank. There is no way you can be married to the right person and remain the same. And in this case, I'm not talking about change. I'm talking about transformation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you see, there's a difference. You see, many people will get married and they'll want to change. Either want to change their lives or want to change their partner's lives. But you see, what is needed in marriage is not change, it's transformation.
Wow.
Yeah, because you literally need to get out of something that you are and into something totally new.
Bruh.
Yes. Yeah?
Hey. I feel like I'm in school, man.
Yeah, so the difference is this. The simple analogy that can be used is this, yeah? If you see a butterfly, and then you take that butterfly and then you can be able to paint its wings with a normal water-based paint. And if it was just, there are these white butterflies. So you paint the wings with a normal white-based paint and make it beautiful. So it's no longer white plain, but now it has color on it.
Yes.
You see, you have changed its appearance, yes? But you see, remember that butterfly, before it got its wings, it was once upon a time a worm.
A caterpillar.
A caterpillar, sorry. And then it transformed into
a butterfly.
The difference between change and transformation is that you can always go back to the thing that you changed from. So, for instance, if you paint and then it rains, the water-based paint will run out and the butterfly will go back to its original color. But you see, when it comes to transformation, no matter how much the butterfly tries, it can never go back to being a caterpillar. So the difference is, when it comes to transformation, someone is literally moving from one form into another. When it comes to change, it is something that someone can be able to revert back to. So when it comes to marriage, it's very important to realize that you need to transform into a certain state. And not just want change. Because you see, the thing is this, change will always come whenever there is transformation. The moment you transform, you will automatically change. But I am yet to see a situation where change has brought about transformation.
Wow. Boss, don't even say anything else. Apo, yo, umefikisha the depth capacity that I can handle. And I'm so grateful for your time, and I'm so grateful for you allowing me to have this conversation with you.
It's okay, man. I appreciate that.
Happy anniversary coming up, and I pray that you guys live to have a long and fruitful and transformative marriage for both of you.
Asante sana, and we say it, asante sana.
Yani, you guys, we'll have to continue this conversation at some point. You're a marriage counselor. You don't even know it, man. Yeah.
No, probably it's because I am married to a counselor.
Eish. Badum tish. Yeah, well done. Thanks, Odipo. God bless you. Have a great weekend. And
thanks, man. God bless. Good job.
Again, thank you for having this conversation with me on my podcast. Please share that knowledge that you have with more people. You're a deep man.
Asante sana. Tashukuru.
Cheers, bro.
We thank God, sawa.
And thank you for listening to these conversations. Obviously, thanks to Flavor and to Odipo for sharing, and for all of you that have written on my social media. I want to encourage you. I want to have as many men just weigh in onto these conversations on why you got married. So please hit me up on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram at Amani Maranga, and let us continue the conversation. God bless you, and see you on the next episode. Still figuring out why do men get married?